So I hope you guys enjoy whatever I'm going to share it with you today. So I'm going to start with Excel basics.
We are recording and we will be sharing this session, right?
Yes, we will do that.
Yeah. The reason is actually I'm, listening through my mobile and I'm out, so I'll be able to practice, once I return.
Okay.
Okay. So are you ready with the recording? Shall I start, Amar?
Yes, it's already recording.
Okay, thank you. So let's go and see what was the history of our Excel background, first of all, where it has started. Mhm. One second, guys. Uh, I think I did. Yeah. Okay. Excel was launched long ago. That was before I was born. That is 1985. And then it was taken over by Microsoft Corporation. And the previous version was from Apple. So Apple laptops only had that. But from 1987, Excel 2 onwards, it started with everyone having that access, whoever has Microsoft device or a Windows operating system. And the current latest version is Office 365 subscription. And previous versions would be 2016, 13, 10, 7, and 3. And what Excel is used for, a lot of things, that is calculations, graphing tools, pivot tables, and macro programming language called Visual Basics for application. So I'll be covering a bit of the calculation, graphing tools, and pivot tables in these sessions. And I'm going to take whatever are important functions in terms of different functions we have because of the time constraint. So let's get into it. What is it? Let's see first of all what Excel ribbon has for us. So I hope everyone went through the pre-work session which I have shared. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, I tried that.
Uh, thank you, Amar. So it was just to make aware of what all these tabs mean. So there are different kinds of attributes. I'm not going to go in detail because I already shared that pre-work session, which are like a few of the important things, that is saving, removing duplicates, and formatting. And there are a few other things like conditional formatting. I'll be explaining in the next slides. And pivots would come here where you can see in the insert tab. There are two types that also I'll discuss later part. And these are like page layouts, how you're going to align your page. And this is the one more important section which I would like you guys to check, because there are like a lot of functions. If you highlight on each function, you'll come to know what exactly that function does. So I would suggest, if you have any kind of question on that particular function, you can just go ahead and check here. And calculation options are very important. Like if sometimes you see that calculations are not happening. Why it is not happening? That might be because the sheet might have been set to manual. That means when you click on an enter or some kind of a action, that time only it will do the calculation. So if I say 3 plus 2, if I say just give it as a sum of these two, and it is like giving me an automatic value. But if I set this to a manual value, it will only calculate when I click enter. I mean, so when I reopen the sheet, once I save the sheet and reopen it, it will, if I change the numbers, it will not do any action. If I click on it, then only it will do it. So that is the importance of automatic or manual. So it depends on what is your requirement, and that you can play around with. Next is data. Data is also very important. There are different kinds of sources of data where you get information from. That is like from database sources. Azure is one of the database sources. Power BI is one of the database sources. And there are like other online formats. It's like you can play around with it. I'm not going to take any part of this in this session because it's too deep. So I'm going like overview.
Pavni, quick question. You're getting all this because you have some different licenses, is it? Or
Okay, I'll show you
especially
what is
Azure
my
and stuff?
license. It's Office 365 is my license, so that's why I'm
Okay.
getting all this. And this
Got
is a corporate account. Here, you can just go and go to your file tab, first one, and go to your account. You'll see here Microsoft, whatever version you have. So this is being a corporate account. I have a lot of other accesses available to me, but it depends on again what version you have. You might have seen in that particular pre-work section, I asked you to check what Microsoft version you have. So that's the reason. I hope I answered the question, Ankur.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, great. So let's move on. So yeah, you can view, this is like the page layout view, and there is a developer section. I would not go here right now, but I'll go to this one in the next VPM macro session, which I'm going to take. And there are like add-ins which you can add. This is also, I'll help you out in next coming session.
You don't have the solver add-in.
Uh,
The one which we got from Professor Atanu.
Really? I
Sorry. Just kidding. Sorry. Please
I
go.
have the Excel stat solver add-in. I don't know. Did we get anything? I'm really sorry. So yeah, these
No,
are
my
my
bad. Sorry.
tabs. So till here you would be seeing in yours, and help is very important. Please go ahead and check what is new and everything, and it is really helpful. I found something interesting last year when I was checking in the what's new section. So I will explain it to you in this session. What's one of the interesting thing which I saw, and this is the interesting one which you can see. This is the recent one, that is like a let is one more new function which is added, where variable name is given and the value for that is given. And if you say x plus 1, it will give you the information that's like 2, or because it's a variable and you're passing that variable to it, so it's multiple values can be given to it. So this is one of our useful function which I saw in the what's new section. But there is one more. I'll talk about it later. So I'm going back to my presentation now. So we just went in a high-level overview of what all is available in each section I went through. But yeah, please go ahead and play around with Excel file which you have, like to understand more in detail. And I would say Google is a very good source. Google is our God, where you can find everything. If you want to understand something, please go ahead and use that also. So next is, there are like in the first half of session, I would like to cover these particular functions. There are different kinds of functions available. Text function, logical functions, information functions, date and time functions, lookup and reference functions. So this is the first half session. I'll be covering these. So let's go into Excel text functions. So for these, I am just going to use my name as example. Say I'm giving my name with a space. Okay. Every time when you get your data, it's not very clean. You might be having spaces at the front or at the end. So how do you clean it? So equal to trim is the function which helps to remove all the spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. So single spaces are nothing but between a name, you always need to have that single space. That's a given thing. So trim doesn't remove that. So now I'll just give this here, and it has cleaned it and had given to me the precise format. So like just now we learned, if I give 3 spaces, and then if I do trim for this, it will leave at least one space between Pavni and T. Definitely. So this is a very useful function which I use. So I thought of explaining it. Same goes with clean. Clean removes the non-printable characters from the text. Okay, so example, there is some start here. Equal to clean, and this is the text. Sorry, I think non-printable characters are ASCII or something like that. But yeah, you can check more on that particular function. So next is concatenation. Concatenation is very important, which we use. Say you want to join two different cell values. Equal to concatenate. This is the A value. And I'm saying you leave a space in between. And this is the B2. So this is concatenated. You saw my name has been concatenated. I gave it in a two different cells. Similar way, if you want to concatenate with a number or something.
Pavani, just Prashant here. Just want to add. Instead of space, we can add plus also. If you want to add two part codes, for example, we can do plus also, right? So,
yeah, you can see how it changed to plus.
Yeah,
so anything in between, double quotes in the sense it's taking it as a string, and concatenation works only for string values. Okay, it will treat it as a string value. Say example 1, 2, 3 I gave, 3, 4, 5 I gave. So I will say concatenate this text. This is taking it as a text value rather than a number. So it will it is changing from right side to left side. Right side indicates that it is a number. The format of the data type of the particular value which you gave to that cell is in a number value. But when you use concatenate in these two cells, it became a string, because concatenate only works with a string. Okay. Next one is extracting from the name. Or let's try replace. Ankur, I'm going to use your name for this.
Absolutely. Hey.
Okay, let's make his name proper name. Let's use replace. This is my old text. And where do I want to replace it? Usually you can use a length function to know the characters, how many number of characters are there, and from where do you want to start. But here there are like very few. I'm just going to manually count it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like from first character onwards it will start, and from number of characters you yeah, middle, right? I think I need to
the third character.
Third character, 1, 2, 3, 3. Yeah.
Third, yeah.
And number of characters would be 3 characters. I want to replace, because GOO should be changed to KUR.
Yeah.
No, just KU.
Just KU. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Okay, your name, proper name has come.
Okay, thank you.
So this is how you use a replace. So whenever you have some characters where you want to replace it, this can be used. And same functionality is substitute. You can go and find that information more. Next function is left. Left is nothing but extracting from a text the left, from left side onwards, how many characters. It will take spaces also. For example, if I say from this text, extract 3 characters out of it. So it will take V space yes. Oh, sorry, left. My directions are very bad. So left, it takes PAV. And if it is like right, same text, I'm saying 3 characters, it will give V space yes. So these are also very important functions. And there is a mid function. You're going to give the text and you can start from how many, wherever you want, and say you want to start from third character, and you want how many characters you want? You want say 4 characters. Let's see what it will do. It's going to give this particular VANI, that is in 4 characters. I started from third character. It is picking 4 characters. This will give 4 characters out of it. And yeah, lower, proper, upper is nothing but, say if I just give my name like this, I want to make it clean, proper. In English, proper means giving it in a proper way, where first letter would be capital and the other letters would be small letters. So that's how it is done. And same goes if you want to make everything capital. I don't want everything to be like small. So I'll just give upper. Upper is nothing but the uppercase. And say I don't want uppercase, I want lowercase. So this will give lowercase. So this is how different text functions are used. And the length is nothing but you can find the number of characters in that particular string. Like I said, so say this value. Here my name is 6 characters length. And if I give Ankur, it will be 5. And if I give mine with initials, it will be more because it will take spaces and information also. Like 6 plus 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's why it is giving you 12. So this is very important function. And when you're using the find function to find some particular value, let me just quickly find returns the starting position of the text string with another text string. So it is a case sensitive. So I'm saying find AV within which text in this text. So start from 1. It is saying that particular V is there, right? It starts from second character. So it's going to return the characters for you. So you can mix and match and play around with these functions. So those are text functions. Moving on. Logical functions, very important. If condition is a basic condition which helps you to compare two things, determine two things, and or
Bhavni, sorry, can I just say something about the text functions that you show?
Sure.
Okay. So some 10 years back, I was working with hospitals, and that time we used to get a list of names of doctors that we had to talk to and send things to, right? At that point of time, these 5-6 functions were so important because the list that we used to get from sales had in some there were doctor names, some were capital, some were small, some were improper, and some it was just the name, some had doctor repeated twice. And these functions help so much in taking a job which takes 4-5 hours to manually sort out and get it done in less than 10 minutes. So I mean, I have found great benefit and time saving because of using this function. So thank you for refreshing it.
Thank you for giving us a live example about these functions. Yes, it depends on requirement to requirement. And if in your job there is any requirement for these, please go ahead and use it. So next is logical functions. Logical, very important, I need to say. So say if I'm testing this logic saying that this cell value is equals to Pavni, then say yes, or else say no. Okay, it is saying yes. Similarly, say math, English, science, you have some kind of marks with you. Say 50, 60, 70, and you're giving a condition, if condition. Say, if this value, whatever value is in that particular cell is less than, say 60, say it as average. And you can do a nested condition. So I am saying if it is false, what shall I do? I am saying if it is false, then use the same particular cell value. If it is greater than or equal to 60, then say good. Okay. Now you gave me a 60, but I have a range of say about 70 and below 90. How to use it? So for this, if I say you can use and here, and is nothing but sorry, or here, combining two conditions within or, this or that. Say if this cell value is greater than 60 or, oh, my bad, I gave it in a wrong notation. 1 second. Or you need to give it in this way, or logical one condition, or this value is less than 90. Then say you're doing an awesome job, best. Or else no value found. Here I can either stop it till here only and give it this best condition here without using this, say for 3 conditions, but because I'm saying it should be greater than 60, less than 90, I'm giving it one more condition. So here we got it average. And when you pull the formula down, it will change the cell value of each one. I have selected only I-17. I didn't log that cell. So what it will take that particular cell value, that is I-18 and I-19. Say for example, if I don't have the formula here and I logged it, that is nothing but the dollar sign will come into picture. Dollar sign usually is used to lock a particular information. Means if you move that cell, if you drag that formula to next cell also, it will not change. Means it will stay at I-17 value only, it is going to consider. It will not take I-18 or I-19. So here I am now pulling it again. So it will give average only. And if you're seeing it is not changing any cell value, cell reference, I mean to say, I-17 is not changing to I-18, I-19. It is logged at I-17 because I have logged it. So in similar way, if you want to lock any particular formula, you can lock it at that particular reference and you can drag it. So either say, I want to lock the column. No. Now this will change the, I want to log the column. I want only in that particular column values only I want. And, but you can change the row from 17 to 18 to 19. So now this will give me good to best, good, yeah, good. Let's say, let's make it here 100. Someone scored 100 in, okay, it is less than, it should be less than 90. Let me just make it 85, 86. It's still giving me condition good. Yeah, because it's greater than, let's make it equal. Let's change it. See, it depends on the condition. It is stopping here because I said it's greater than or equal to 60. So obviously 80 is greater than 60. So it's giving me good value. Instead of going into my second condition where I said, okay, greater than 60, less than 90, it should give best value. So it depends on the person who is writing the condition. So I hope I made sense with logical conditions, that is and, oh sorry, or if condition. And similarly, if you want to satisfy two conditions, say, if you don't give equal to sign, the conditions will not work. I mean to say it will not take it as a function in math, sorry, in Excel. Okay, I am saying this value should be less than 50 and this value should, what is it? Can someone give me some conditions where I can write this? Anyone interested? Anyone interested to?
Yeah.
So,
Sorry. Yeah.
so it is greater than 50 and less than 86.
Okay, less than 86. Okay, greater than 50. Okay, so that time I'll say it's good, or else this is bad. So what would be the first condition? Sorry, what would be the result of the math 50? Will it give me a good or a bad? Okay,
Good.
it is going to give me bad because
It was 50, na?
it should be greater than 50. I
Oh,
didn't say equal
greater
to
than or equal to. Correct.
50.
You're correct. Right.
So here, if you see, it is going to give me good because it is greater than 50 and it is less than 86. And if I go
Bad.
here, it will give me bad because I gave a condition where it says less than 86, not less than or equal to. So it depends on the condition. Guys, some disturbance is there. Okay, simple not condition is like a Boolean value. It gives a true or false. So say this value is greater than 80, then it will give true. Sorry, it will give false. Less than 80, it will give true. So it will give false. Is it less than 80? No. Okay, let's just say less than or equal to 50. It will give false. Or it is giving false. 70 less than or equal to. Okay, let's just verify this. And value is not even false. Oh, okay. My bad. Whatever condition you are giving, that will take reverse of that condition. So it is like saying I-70 should not be equal to 50. Then it is going to give you, if it is like greater than 50. I changed it to greater than 50. It will give, it shouldn't be greater than 50. Not is there in front. So it is like little bit no condition. You are giving no condition to it. I hope I made sense, guys. Okay, let's move on. So these are like few other functions you can check: is error, is NA. These are used usually if that particular cell is blank, equal to is blank. That particular cell value is blank or not. It is blank. If it is not blank, it will throw false. So like these, you can test all these conditions with whatever information you have. And numbers also, like is that a number or is it a even or odd? Okay, let's test this for this one. This I said is it is a string. Now if I say is number, I am asking whether that value is a number or not. It will say false because that is that converted itself into a string when we concatenated it. But if you say for this number, it will be true because that is a number which I give. Whenever you type in the numbers, it will automatically move it to the right side. But when you type that as a string, it will be on the left side, like just how you're seeing this information. So those are few logical and information functions. I'm moving on to next slide. Are there any questions here? No?
Not. I don't have any. But tell me, Pavni, one more thing. these functions, I understand, are part of the Excel and to use. But would there, I mean, you have obviously used it, but would the help also talk about it? As in, if I were to try and look for something, because I was not aware of some of the functions.
Uh,
Obviously, because I never knew it existed there.
there are a lot more than what you like. I have listed out here, and it depends on your the requirements. Again, I'm coming back to requirements because how you play around the functions, how you do it, it depends on what data you have and what manipulations you're working on. So when you don't have that requirement, so you might not know. So that's why I'm just giving the overall context here. So please go ahead, explore if you need it, or else you can leave it. So these things are good to know kind of a thing. So for example, VLOOKUP is there. If a VLOOKUP is erroring out, so you need to use the if error or if any functions. So that will tell you like if that isn't erroring out, like what you want that value to be. Um, say example, I gave some kind of issue is there. How to make it a error? Now, so trying to, I'm very bad with that. But yeah, later on we'll see how to make it a error and then show you if any if error.
Just
But
do it
yeah,
divided by 0, no, for a number, it will give a.
yeah, that is it. Equal to this divided by 0. That is a division error. So is error of this particular value, it is saying true because that is an error. Division value divided by 0 is an error. Sometimes you will see something like hash any. That is also an error. So this is not like a value created. I just wrote it and it is taking it as a string. So it will be false. So whenever there is an error, you'll find that information useful. It depends on how you're going to use it. So whenever you see help on this error is there, there would be some mark comment kind of a thing. If you click on that, you'll get to know what is like show calculation steps. How did you calculate? This will automatically tell you like, okay, 50, and that's why it is giving an error. So you can change that and show calculation steps. Ignore the error also you can do. You can ignore it. It depends on how you're going to take that error. So it's a good to know things, but it depends again on requirement basis. I'm moving on to next one. Date and time function. I'm not going to spend much time here, but yeah, I'm going to do few things. So if I want to know today's date, equal to today will give you today's date. So this number will change always whenever I open the sheet. If I open the sheet tomorrow, right, it will give me 3/7/2021. Today is the function for it. And say if you want to know month of today's date. Third is the month. And if you want to know day of today's date, that's the sixth day. Or else year. So you can play around with whatever values you have to in order to get all these date, time. Now will give you what is the time of now. At the moment, what is the time with the date. So this is the date and this is the time. There is a shortcut called Control Shift colon and semicolon, which will give you these values in a shortcut while using the shortcut. So the control colon will give you time and control semicolon will give you date. So I did give the shortcuts information over there and it will change for Windows operating system and Mac. You can go ahead and check that info accordingly. So like that day, month, year, if you want to know week number of the this particular date, what is the week number? So this is the number I'm giving. And it says my week starts from Sunday. If I say I need to put 1. If I say no, my week will start from Tuesday, then I'll say 1, 2. So today is the 10th day it will give. But if I just say my week starts from Sunday. So, okay. 1 second. Today is Saturday. Saturday? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why does it number? This is the 10th week of the year. That is like Sunday is the day where I start. Then it is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is 10. So this would be, I'm going to be in the 10th week. But if I say I'm going to start it from Tuesday, that time also it is going to be in the 10th week. If I'm starting with some other value, you can change according to your requirements. Like my week starts from Thursday. Okay. That is still 10th week. But yeah, again, it depends on what you're going to use. There is a workday INTL, network days. These are something which you use it in your office day to day. Like say, this is my start date. Say today is my start date. My end date is somewhere around, I'm giving 12, 01, 2021. And I have in between 10 holidays. So, oops, didn't take it as a date. I'm just going to put this. So I have total 193 network days where I'm going
So that
to
is net work days. I mean, 2 different words. I got confused. Thank you.
So it is like the year, financial year starts from April for two companies, right? And it will go on till next financial year. And in between, you have around 20 holidays. So if you want to know exactly how many working days you have, that would this would be the formula which you need to use. So in the same way, if I want to include holidays, my weekends also. So this is my start date. And again, I'm going to give my end date as say 03 and 01 2021. I'm saying I have 2 weekends. I can have 2 weekends or 1 weekend or how many ever days of week offs are there for you. So say I have only Sundays off. I'm going to take this particular, that is 11. Sorry. 11 has the one which I need. And I'm saying in between, I have around 20 holidays. So this will, okay, why it is giving me, oh, my bad, 2022. This will give me 309 days. Between today to next year, 2022, I have like only Sunday has my holiday and around 20 with the 20 public holidays or holidays which you consider, then altogether I have 309 working days. So these are something which you use it when you try to do the accounting stuff, accounts, or if you want to know like how many working days you have, these are very useful functions. So I hope these are useful. And are there any questions here? No, I'm moving on then.
But now I know better on how my manager keeps record of my net working days. This is
Pavani,
very
this
useful.
worksheet, sorry, this worksheet would be shared, right?
Sure, I will share it. I'll share it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
This is my draft worksheet which I did, but I am planning to. I have few more work things which I am going to give you guys after the session. Also, I'm going to pester you to do it so that you guys have a good understanding of what we are doing here. So next is lookup and reference functions, and this is a very famous interview question. What is VLOOKUP? That does come to us, right? So let's see what is VLOOKUP. Oh, this is from one of the websites I downloaded. I thought it was very innovative way of writing the things. So this is nothing but when you look for a value, right, in a column and look up for a value in a column, that result, return a result from a cell in a row where that matches. So example, if I want a cafe mocha here, it will first search that value in this column and it will go in that particular row, it will move forward and it will give me this. I want for grande, so it will be giving me this value. So it is a very useful function and it is used in a multiple ways for multiple different things when you come to your corporate use. So say this is one of the relationship tables. If I want to know in this particular table, product category, if I don't have that product category information, I need to pick it up from here. So how do I know? I will choose this particular cell value and then do a VLOOKUP. So how is that done is, I'll just show you here. VLOOKUP of, I want to know about, oh, I think this is locked. This I downloaded. It's an example sheet. So it is taking it as an image, I believe. Yeah, it is taking it as an image. That's why it is not giving me. But yeah, let's do it here. Let's take a cafe mocha and size is grande. Let's try to find that information. So anyone would like to help me out find that information? What is the price of it? Yes, Mimi. Hello?
You need to select the box, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
okay.
lookup value. And then
Table.
so I'll give first one. Second one, I want you guys to help me out. Okay. So this is the table array which I'm going to give, and my value resides in third column from here onwards. 1, 2, 3. So that would be comma 3, and I want an exact match. For that, I'll give it as a 0. 0 is nothing but exact match. 1 means I don't, sorry, approximate match, or else exact match. 0 is what I want, the approximate match. So I'm going to give 0 and then I'm going to click enter and it gave me a value. So tell me how to get for cafe Americano, venti is what I'm looking for. So can someone help me out to find that information here?
Yeah, so first the box A16, right? We look up A16. Then the array, classic and all, I mean, like you selected.
So this is nothing but your table array. So from where to where you're selecting.
Yes.
Next.
Then 1, 2, 3, 4.
And this is 0, that is like approximate match. And now let's see what we are going to get. Is it correct? So your answer is 2.75. So it is Cafe Americano Venti 2.75. So you guys understood like how I'm checking that value, how this VLOOKUP works. Guys, Any response?
Yeah, we are here. We are here.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Excel is life-saving skill.
Yeah.
I hope I'm able to give that information. So here they are saying order size cost of grandes they want of all these particular values at one shot. Now here you give the VLOOKUP like how you did it. This is the value which you're looking for, and this is the table array which you're looking for. But here I want to log the table because I want it for the next cells to generate, take it from that same cell, and they say that same table array. Because if you don't log it, what will happen is A3 will change to A4, D11 will change to D12 when it comes to next one. So let me just first remove these and then show it to you guys. So as an example, you can understand it well. So say I want it for grande. Grande is 1, 2, 3, 3, comma 0. If I just move it, it will give me a A4. Okay. You're seeing the table selection has come down, and this is also has come down. You shouldn't like the table selection should be fixed here. Say if the values are somewhere else, then you might not be able to find that particular one. Say if you want for cafe latte, here I'm going to insert. Oops. Control Z is a very important function. Please, Control Z is nothing but whatever action you did. If you want to undo it, so that would help you out in getting back. So this is cafe mocha. So just insert one more. Cells down. So say I want cafe latte now. But if I pull this formula down, it will throw me any value because that particular table came down. And that is an error. I should lock the table in order to get precise values. So for this, what I'll do is I'll lock the information here. So what it will do is if I move the formula to the next cell, only this one will change. That is A16 to A17, it will change, but not these A3 to D11 will be locked. So now what it will do is if I pull it down, it will give me the correct value. So this is how usually error happens. And like if I want to see if there is an, like I told you earlier, if there is an error, I'm saying you just give me a column instead of giving me any. So now, oops, I didn't change this. 1 second. To make errors also, you need to be perfectly perfect to do it. So now this will give me a hyphen instead of any. Okay, this is how you use the if any, if error condition, and if there are two VLOOKUPs you need to work upon, like some two different values you are taking, then you need to use it in a different way. Means through AND function or functions, you need to combine all these things together. So it depends on your requirement, and it will get little bit more complicated when you do it more and more. But once you're used to it, it will not be much of a difficulty, and it will be very easy cakewalk. So I want you guys to get acquainted with this VLOOKUP, but I'll give you one more reference value. Like I said, I found one more, which is like very, very useful. This VLOOKUP has a catch here. What is it means if there is any value, say if this 20 value, say it is before the value of chip cells, right? Okay. And I am picking this value and I'm saying I want cafe latte information for it. Let me just first copy paste this name. Okay. Now I am saying I want cafe latte information, and I'm going to take this as reference. And how you will say this is the first column of the value, right? Okay, guys, do you think the answer will come?
VLOOKUP of
No, I
cafe.
think it scans down and right only, right?
Yes. So this answer will not come. It will say not available. So this function is useless when it comes to the values which are there, like left to the reference value. So last year, usually for these kind of things, there is one more function called offset, and that is a bit of like what to say in our language, jalebi kind of information, because it requires reference, rows, columns, height, width. It's too complicated to understand in a simple language. So I don't want you to bother about this. But there was a new function which was introduced by Microsoft, that is called XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is something, it will look right or left or horizontal or vertical. It has a multiple functionalities. Okay. So I want cafe latte, where I want to see this particular information from. This is my lookup array. And what, from where do I need that written information from? This one. And if it is not found, what shall I give? I'll say this. And if it is exact match or next to smaller item or something, whatever you want to give, I will say exact match I need. And what type of a search mode, whether it is first to last or a last to first or a binary ascending search, or different kinds of information would be there, depending on your requirements again. So I will just give for time being from first to last you search this value. Now this will give me value. So this is a very, very useful function, and it can search for the information horizontally, vertically, and left, right also. So I would request you all to get acquainted with this XLOOKUP. It's more useful than VLOOKUP. If you guys are very very well aware of VLOOKUP, it's good. You'll be able to understand the XLOOKUP very easily. But this is a very nice example file which I have with me. So say south of the sales for March month I want. So what it is saying I want for March month, and where I am going to see that information from January to December. And this is the from south, I'm giving these values. So for this particular March month, it would be 1949. Say if you are changing it to December, it will be 4165. So this is the horizontal lookup which you are seeing right now. But here we are not using HLOOKUP. That is the one more function which is used for horizontal lookup. But instead we are using only one function which can do vertical lookup, horizontal lookup, right, left, wherever the information resides. Okay. And it will look for the wildcard entries also. So here you are seeing there is a names list which is given, and there are email addresses. And here there is one wildcard entry. The data is not proper. So we need to know what exactly matches to this. So at that time, you are saying this is the value which I'm looking for. And this is in full names. We will get that information. And I want email address. And I'm saying if the value is not found, give me 2. So it is giving me 2 because it's not able to find that because of this BRAYANA. Y is missing and question mark is there. But here there is one more. We just now saw that is the wildcard character match. So if I say 2, what it will do is it will see without the wildcard what is the nearest one. It is going to give me email address, which is this one. So similarly, this is a very useful function, and same way goes in reverse order. If you want to do it from, I have done it from first to last. In this, however, they are trying to do it. Sorry, my bad. They're doing it from match mode, last to first. That is like -1. Exact match or next smaller item which is available. So 1022 is the next smaller item which is available, means that person has ordered. And what is the row value of that? That is 331 row. Where is 331? So they are saying this is the next smallest value for her, for Annie Larison. Out of this table, who made the last sale on this date? And I'm saying Annie Larison has made it, but I want the next smallest value of what order ID and that particular row value, means where can I find that information here? This is the date which they give, that is date here. And this is XLOOKUP versus VLOOKUP. How you do it? Like I said, VLOOKUP only does right reference. It will not search if the value is on the left side and the reference is on the here. Means say name is here, email is here. It will not give that information properly. And this is XLOOKUP to the left. You can please go ahead and check all the different variations which are given here. I don't want to go in more detail with this, but this is the source link. It's a very useful to learn these all things. And these are the pros and cons of XLOOKUP. And instead of a match, they have XMatch also. Please go ahead and check that. So that is for lookup functions. And I will not get in more detail with few of the functions here which I have mentioned. Let's take a break now. Okay, 5 minutes break, guys.
Okay, but that XLOOKUP was really worth it. I mean, I never knew that existed. I was always moving columns. Doing it.
Yes, like I said, this nugget I came to know when I tried to search for some information when I was giving a presentation for my office, my team. That time I was like, what's new? This came up. I was like wondering why can't we use it, because I am also similar to you. I was also moving around. This reference value is not there, so I will move this column here. Then I'll search. But once I started using XLOOKUP, it was like, wow, it's very easy. Compared to offset, this is very easy to understand and to work with. So I will give this file to you to place it in the drive so that you guys can have a work around and play around with it. But there are different kinds of exercises in that. So I hope in the second half, I was planning to go through a little bit of these things. There is math functions, statistical functions, pivot charts and pivot bar graphs, conditional formatting. So first thing, let's go to math functions. And these are a few of the math functions. Sum is something which I have given you in the pre-workbook session. You must have seen that function. So in this particularly, I would like to highlight one more function here, that is RAND. RAND is nothing but your random number which you can give. Oops. You need to keep brackets. It will give you a random number out of nowhere. But if you give rand between, it will give you like a bottom number and a top number. You can set it. Let's say 30, and my top number is say 50. So it will pick between 30 and 50 only. So 35 is what it picks. And whenever you click or open this sheet, it will automatically change numbers. So that's how I did my Excel stat information. Like I picked up between 0 and 1 and 9, which we used for rating for multiple customers. We said that we need to use this, right? So I just played around with this. So this is how you get it. And I will get in details with SumIf and SumIfS, which I want to talk about. And round and mround is nothing but your decimal numbers rounding up. I'm not going to give it more in detail. It's just decimal numbers. So you can go through. And power is again raised to the power 2. If a 2 of a 2 square, that is nothing but say power of number 2 and 3, that would be 8. 2 cube, that is nothing but. Same goes with square root. If I say square root of this number, it will give me decimals because there is no perfect square root for 8. So that will give me 2.82, something like that. So those are like few functions here. And say if I don't want to these many decimal numbers for this, I want to round it. So let me just round up. So I want it only to 2 decimals. So it will give me 2.83. It will round off the number to 2 decimals. So like this, you can use the decimal information and all that. And next one is statistical functions. Max, min, count is very important. Max and min is nothing but your in this particular set, say equals to max of these 4 numbers, that would be 3.95 is the max. Similarly, minimum of this set, which is like the complete set, it would be 2.05. So it will give you a max number and the min number out of it. And count is nothing but it will count how many values are there. So say these all. There are like 8 values. So that is the same thing here you are seeing. Count 8. So this is a very important function. But when it is used with count and if s, sum if s, that becomes more valuable for us. So I'm going to go through those examples now with you guys. So here, this is a complete table for us. And I want to know number of orders. I want to count number of orders in Boston. Means how many times this Boston has come in this particular destination. So I will say count if this is the range. And then comma, say Boston. Boston is what I'm searching for. So it will give me 4. So like that, you need to, I'm not asking you guys these again questions because due to the time constraint, I'm just explaining it to you, but play around with it. And the results are here, but don't see the formula. I have like the results are nothing but the formula is already there included here, but don't see it. You can either use it in this way or you can like try it because I want you guys to understand in more detail these functions. Say SumIf. So sum of refrigerated items. So this is the refrigerated one and these are the number of items. So I want to find what is the sum of refrigerated items. So range would be this. Criteria is refrigerator is what I'm looking for. And these are the number of items, that is sum range where I'm looking for. That is 105. So wherever the refrigerator is 25 plus 15 plus 25, like that, it will go on adding it and it will give you the values. And say if you have multiple conditions, that's where you use COUNTIFS. So say number of microwave orders in Boston. I have two conditions. One is microwave orders and I'm looking for Boston here. So criteria one, criteria range one would be this. And criteria would be Boston. And criteria range two would be this. And what I'm looking for is microwave. So this is two. And next is sum ifs, multiple conditions for summing the values. So here I want sum of microwave transported to New York. So this is a sum of microwaves. This is nothing but the number of items is what we are looking for. And first condition is criteria is this one. And this is the New York, is something here. And what I'm looking for is microwave. This is my second condition. Okay. No, microwave. So now it will give me only values which have New York and microwave. It will add those values and give me a 25. This is the answer. And this SumIFS, COUNTIFS are very useful when you're doing forecasting, because I did use it personally for one of the templates which I have created for one of the companies which I have worked for. So when you're seeing 6 months of data or 1 year of a data, to understand what is your sales information and how many times that has been done, you need to use these conditions. SumIFS, COUNTIFS plays a very major role. So I would suggest you play around with this. There is an exercise 2 also. Play around with it and check for the values. Okay. Are there any questions here?
Pavani, can you just do the SumIFS once again? Can you just?
Sure. So you are going to help me out with this, okay? Sum of items transported to Pittsburgh by truck 1. So Pittsburgh is coming in destination,
Okay.
and truck is coming in transport. These are the two criteria. And number of items is what we are looking for. This is the sum range. Okay, that is what we are looking for. Now, when you are writing your SumIFS, what is the first thing which is coming?
We need to select the Pittsburgh, is it?
A number of items. That is the
E, yeah, column E.
Yeah, column E.
And next is criteria. Criteria 1 would be truck 1. I want the values for truck 1.
Yeah.
So instead of writing in double quotes, I'm very lazy. I am selecting that information in that particular column. So if you want to do in a proper way, you can just go ahead and click, let me say, type for truck 1. Okay. And next is destination, which we are looking at. And what is the condition which was given to us? Pittsburgh is what we are looking for.
Okay.
This is the Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Either you can do it like this, or either you can write it in double quotes. Me being lazy, I use all whatever I have there only. I try to optimize it. So is this clear, or do you want me to explain it again?
No. Once I practice, I should be okay. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the sum range. This is the items, and this is where your first criteria kicks in, and this is where the second criteria kicks in. So first criteria is we are looking for truck 1, and the second criteria we are looking for Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Okay. And if you click enter key, that is 75. Okay. And please go ahead and practice it.
Yeah.
And you have a link where this reference document was downloaded. Okay. Shall I move on? Nice.
Sure, Pavani.
Okay, I'll quickly jump into my next one, that is conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is used for highlighting the cells by giving a conditions. So let's play with the same table. We have here a price table, right? So let's do a conditional formatting. Highlight top 10 items. If I say with a light red fill or a dark red fill, I'll say just give me a green fill with a dark green text. Let's do it just. You can select whatever you want. It's green with a green text. So this is the one which is like my top 10 items. And here you're seeing, right? This is the condition which I gave for the top 10 items. So you can play around, you can customize your conditions. Say, for example, if you want to clear the rules, just go here, clear the rules for the selected sheet. Then you want to again create a new rule. And here you can select whatever you want to select, 2-color scale or a 3-color scale, and format all cells based on their value, only cells that contain. These are like different conditions. If you click on that, you can just format only the values above or below range. Say I want above or below equal, or let's first do it for above range. Okay, there is no selector. 1 second. Let me clear this. So manage rules is where you can see if there is any particular rule which is giving. So here let's say lowest value and highest value for this. So lowest value is this color, highest value is this color. Click OK, and in between this particular one, if you click OK, you're seeing the color gradation, right? Lowest value and highest value color gradation. I hope I
Yep,
made
yep.
sense. Do you want me to again show you, like these are like different, you can edit the rule and you can say only cells that contain between 7 to 10 you highlight, or else 30 you highlight. Okay. Oops, I didn't select anything here. 1 second. No format was selected, it is saying. Let's click on our format, and why I'm not able to see, because this is there.
No, there is a fill, right?
Yeah, I was searching for it because this header was up, right? So I was not able to. Okay, now it will show you. Okay, between 7 and 30, these are the values. So it depends on whatever condition you want, you can play around. And there are multiple conditions also you can write. You don't need to do only one condition. Say you want top or a bottom rank, say bottom 10, and say format and fill light red, and click on OK and click on OK. See, both the conditions are applied now. Between 7 and 30 and top and bottom. So this is how you can play around with it, different conditions, different things. It depends on, again, your requirement, like I'm reiterating myself. So you can clear the conditions also from the column which you have given. So that's how you do the conditional formatting. Moving on, pivot charts. So pivot charts and tables, you can select this particular table of data and go to your insert and say pivot table. So it will say new worksheet or existing worksheet. I'm going to use a new worksheet. This table, it will create a pivot table. Then you can play around with it, say price as values. And then if you want to break it by service. This is how you break the service. Like all services prices like this much costed, dyeing is this much, like that. And say if you want to do a payment, then this is the count of a payment, how many times it has been paid. And stylus name if you want to break again. So these are like different stylus. So this is how you play around with pivots. And same table, I can use it for pivot chart also. That's nothing but like this. You select the table, go insert, and where is this? I forgot where is this. Pivot chart. That is nothing but it will show you in a chart format. Like this is a service, and the service will come here and say payment. My bad, price. And if you want to include payment, you can do it. This is the count of payment. And if you want to change that to sum, right, you can change it also, like value field settings, you can change it to sum, count, average, maximum, whatever you want to do, play around with it. And if you click anything outside the cell, outside this particular table, then it will not give you that legend. This is called as legend, where the information you can do filters. Say if you want to filter by stylus name, so you want just only for Alex, then it will give you Alex details. If you want to give it for all, you can give it for all. So like this, you can play around with pivots, pivot tables, and same here also you can do the same thing. When you're giving this information, right? In this say stylus name, I gave it as filters. Same thing, Ashley. And say control you press and say Jane also is selected. Sorry. Select multiple, say Ashley, Jane. Click on OK. Ashley and Jane together did these many things. Say Alex and Jane did these many. So this is how you play around with pivots. So yeah, that comes to an end to what I wanted to say. Thank you. And if there are any questions, you can let me know.